Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. The last week has been really difficult for a lot of us. We have been dealing with the murder of Charlie Kirk and the aftermath of it.
We got Charlie in the neck. We got Charlie in the neck.
Trying to figure out how to process all of this. We've all been processing this. It's been really, really intense. So a lot of us have been talking to friends about it, and I want to continue that conversation today. Speaking of friends, I have someone on the channel for the very first time I'm very excited about. Joining me in this conversation today is Tori Nicole. Hi, friend.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me. I feel so excited and so special. Like you're like an icon celebrity to me on
You
on
are
YouTube
so sweet. I'm excited. We've been wanting to kind of do this for a while, I would say, right?
We have. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish it was like a nicer thing, but
I know. It's like, yeah, but at least this is an important thing, because I think that you and we have a lot to talk about this. And I do hope that what we're going to be talking about is going to resonate with a lot of people. I think it will. I do know that there's a lot of extremes kind of, and I say on both ends, because this is very much a divisive right versus left topic for, I think, a lot of people. But I think there's a lot of us that maybe kind of like, I sometimes say like the silent majority. I think most of us are not so extreme, where you kind of are, I would like to think, like more in the balance. And you're super based, you're super balanced. So I'm excited to have you today to talk about this.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I'm thankful to be here and talk about this, because and you brought up a great point. I don't know why this is such a left versus right thing. I mean, this is a human life that was taken by cold blood. Why are we squabbling about it? It's just wrong, period. There's no justification for murder of in general. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with you. And I think that's where I'm coming from too. You know, and one of the things I wanted to talk about, because I haven't really shared this, I made some memes about this. The thing that I have not shared yet, and it's been about a week, it's almost a week, I think exactly, since this happened, I have not really come out with kind of my views about what Charlie Kirk believed and the things that he has said. And the reason why, and this is something that I do want to talk about, is because I almost feel like in the wake of this news, it's not relevant. It's not relevant what I think about him as a person. It's not relevant about whether or not I agreed with his policies. It's not, I mean, you know, I'm not saying that somebody who has died forever should be ever exempt from criticism. We can talk about it, right? We talk about people that have died throughout history and what they stood for and whether or not we agree with it. But when it's fresh, right, Tori, when it just happened, and we're in when the camera is still at large, to me, bringing it up then, or even in the instant when you hear that he was, like what happened with Kristen Hawkins when she was on a college campus and she was like, well, Charlie Kirk just got, in real time, you see her reacting.
Greg, come here. What? Greg. Charlie Kirk was just on a college campus in Utah. Is it bad? I don't know. Charlie Kirk was just at his campus in Utah. Why are you laughing? He is my friend.
And college students are laughing and making fun and saying, oh, well, this can bring joy to some people.
Has told people.
But it's also understandable that people can gain joy from this because of the type of person he is and the type of things he say.
I will never understand how anyone can feel joy about another innocent human. Where is the joy in that?
I think that's the hard part for me to have. I didn't know how to process that. Like, wait, really? You're going to bring up whether or not you agreed with him? You're going to bring up what he thought politically? What?
Exactly. Why are we validating that someone was murdered? Why are we validating, oh, well, he was not a great person? Okay, you can have that opinion.
Yeah, you can.
He was still murdered.
Yes.
For having the views and opinions that he had. We are in America. What? Why is that okay? Why is that okay to bring up something completely irrelevant to kind of be like, oh, well, he had it coming? Ew.
Yeah. I think that that's what I'm dealing with the most. You know, I watched Blair White's reaction to it. It was so raw, and she had said it, and she put it perfectly. It wasn't just the tragedy of what happened to him. It was compacted with the reactions, the immediate reactions.
The tragedy of Charlie Kirk's death, I think the reason why it's hitting so hard is it's being compounded by the reaction by people. It just feels like a whole other trauma to see the psychopathy that I am surrounded by, that we are all surrounded by.
To the Charlie Kirk family. Did you see all that blood that came out of his body? I was like, what? There is a God.
And all you motherfuckers think that he had a wife and kids, so what? So what? Legitimately, though.
On the fact that a man got in front of his 2 kids, I don't care!
It's well deserved. For him specifically getting womp womp, he got what he deserved. He's a conservative. I don't care if it's ignorance or coming out of hatred from my heart. It's opinionated.
Do not come on here and be like, oh no, his poor family. I'm glad that bitch is rotting.
Do you support his death? I do. You support Charlie Kirk being killed?
Yes, I do.
On the day he died, you're here at a vigil for Charlie Kirk, and you support his.
Yep, sure do. It's freedom.
You support Charlie Kirk.
Sure do. He did us all favors. I would have myself.
You would have yourself.
Charlie Kirk just got in the neck. Hey, ooh, ah.
You want to know why I'm so stoked? Go ahead and Google Charlie Kirk. Read the latest headlines and you'll see why I'm so.
My coworker was all in a tizzy because she gonna tell me that Charlie Kirk got and I said good. I'm glad he got shot. Hopefully he.
Is it wrong if I say fuck his wife and his kids too? I don't give a fuck about any of them. I promise you I don't.
I think that that's what it is. I didn't even really have time to process what this meant for, you know, me as somebody who is, I mean, doesn't have the audience anywhere near Charlie Kirk, but as somebody who tries to have these conversations too. But the idea that someone like that, who was in cold blood in front of thousands of people in broad daylight, not only the tragedy of that for him and his wife and his children, you know, she lost her husband, his 2 young children lost their father. But what does this mean for free speech?
Right.
You know, should I feel afraid as somebody who is gay and a Christian? And this is the thing that I want to say. A lot of the people that are mocking his death and celebrating his death, it's clearly not getting into their brain that they are now at risk for somebody on the other hand who doesn't like their views to come after them violently. Like, you have to think about this as this is opening the door to utilizing violence to try and remove political opponents.
Yeah.
That's what I don't think they're understanding. We have to all, right, left, radical right and left, we all have to condemn. Maybe you don't want to grieve and mourn him as a person because you don't really care for him. I don't think that that's what we're asking you. Just don't be evil and mock it.
Yeah.
And also understand that even if you don't mourn him or grieve him, you should be concerned that this happened to him, because this is an attack on even your free speech, on even your safety. If you are someone who's on the radical left and hate everything he stood for, this affects you directly too.
Yeah, I mean, it paints a large target on everybody that speaks out for anything.
Yes.
For anything. For having an opinion, for being a gay Christian or being a trans Christian. I mean, it already has. And this is what's so heavy. I didn't even know this man. And I knew of him, and all I knew is that he just kind of like did like debates. And I wasn't really a fan of what I had seen. But when this happened, the immediate reaction was not, oh, well, he didn't like me because I'm trans, or he wanted to get rid of my existence. I was like, I feel so sad that that we lost a brother in Christ. Like, I felt so sad. I didn't even know the guy at all, but I have gone back and watched his stuff where people are saying he's racist or he's homophobic or he's hateful and spread hate and division and all this stuff, trying to find that. And I've yet to. And the more that I've watched, the more I've learned about this man, the more that I've come to actually be complete opposite. I love this man. Like, it's harder for me because I know he was a Christian. I love that he stood up for what he stood up for, his values and his beliefs. He wasn't afraid to do it. I think it was something that was almost radical in this day and age, and it was dangerous. But he did it because he stood up for that, and that's what he believed was right. And in America, that's what we do. We stand up for what we believe in. We have that free speech. And it, like you said, it's scary now because someone was murdered for doing the most American thing possible, standing up for what they believe in and speaking out against things that they don't necessarily agree with.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought about this because, you know, we had talked a little bit last night about like the fact that we're going to do this. And I was thinking like, what are some of the things that throughout the week I've been thinking and the things that I've been feeling. A lot of it we've covered just now, but I think also, you know, it did make me kind of think about how, whether we're on the right or on the left, like our values seemed to, I don't want to say change, but we kind of play into our values based on convenience. What I mean by that is, you know, people have been bringing up George Floyd a lot and his murder in the context of Charlie Kirk's. And some people are like, well, how are they related and how are they different? And there's both, right? There are ways that they're related and there are ways that they're different. But I just remember like a lot of the pushback that is coming, because I've lost like 300 subscribers when I was posting about Charlie Kirk. And people just assume that that means that I stand for everything that he believed or everything that he stood for and everything that he's ever said. And I was just like, no, it doesn't. I'll have that conversation. And this is why we're doing this today. It's just not related at all to why I'm grieving. And then I remember that when George Floyd there was the hashtag Black Lives Matter. And I don't know how many people remember this. All Lives Matter was trending at the exact same time in the beginning. But then didn't take very long before people started saying, you know what, that's actually really offensive. And do not use, that's offensive. Do not use All Lives Matter. And their reasoning was because that's taking away from this issue with George Floyd. Do you see where I'm going with this?
Oh, 100%. And I'm 100%. I remember this and I was like, what?
Yes. And then all of a sudden, again, I don't want to point fingers, but it seems to be that same group of people that said All Lives Matter was offensive are also now saying, well, Charlie Kirk died, but where are all your posts about Gaza? Charlie Kirk died, but where's all your posts about Melissa? Right? I mean, oh, Charlie Kirk died, but where's all your posts about the school shooting, this and that? I'm like, wait a minute. Not that that's not relevant, but didn't you at one point say that that's the same thing behind All Lives Matter? So to your convenience, you want to be able to bring all this other stuff up. And so this to me was really unsettling to me. And it doesn't, and again, there are a lot of people that are posting all of those things, posting about Melissa's shooting and her husband and the dog and all of that, and posting about Charlie and posting about what's going on in Gaza. They are, but it's interesting to me that a lot of the people that are saying, where are your posts about this, this, and this? They're not posting about Charlie Kirk.
The hypocrisy is glaring. It's literally glaring.
You almost want to say, yeah, okay, well, some of us really are, but where's your post about Charlie Kirk and how horrible this is? Well, I'm not going to do that because then
also it's like, how do you know I didn't? Are you going to go back?
They don't know.
And check all of that. And just because we don't post about it doesn't mean we don't feel something for it. I just have had this ridiculous, heavy, sad feeling for Charlie that I've felt compelled to learn more about him. And call it the Holy Spirit, call it whatever you want.
Yeah.
But I didn't necessarily have that with anything else in my life thus far, to be honest. But that doesn't mean that I don't care about the victims of like church violence. I don't know what words I can say and what words I can't.
Yeah. I get it. Pew, pew, pew. I think people say pew, pew.
Pew, pew. Yeah. That doesn't mean that I didn't care about George Floyd and everything that happened with Minneapolis burning down, my hometown burning down. It doesn't mean I didn't care about that. I just am currently resonating with what's going on right now.
Yes.
And I agree with you. I mean, it's very, very hypocritical and interesting that we're talking about things when it's convenient for them, but it's our fault. We're not posting enough.
Yeah. Yeah. And to be honest, I didn't even know about of Melissa. And that to me is just, you know, I do try to take seasons of digital minimalism.
Sure. I think that's healthy.
Yeah, yeah. And so I didn't even know about that. And somebody said, well, why aren't you posting about her? And that was when the wake of Charlie Kirk is how I even heard about her. And I said, oh my gosh, that's terrible too. And I did. I made a Facebook post about it. And I wanted to make sure that I talked about it today because I do believe that all political violence should be condemned. To me, I don't think that it's, well, if they're on the right, I'll ignore it. Or if they're on the left, I'll ignore it. No, if I hear about it and I think that it's horrible, I'm going to grieve. I'm going to think it's terrible. And political violence on any side is horrible. Doesn't matter who it is. And you know, and this is the other thing I think I wanted to talk about too. A lot of people are saying, well, you know, Gilbert, I don't really care for him. So, you know, I don't condone the murder, but I was like, the power of but.
I was just thinking that. I was like, the power of but, though. When you say something and you say but, you immediately invalidate everything you said before.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. You know, and I feel that way with this Charlie Kirk thing because that's kind of what people say. I actually had more respect for people that had a but they put the disagreeing with Charlie first by saying, hey, I didn't really appreciate a lot of the things he said. I wasn't a fan, and they used the power of the but that way. But it is absolutely revolting and disgusting that this man was for his beliefs, that he, right? So it really is telling on kind of where you are. And I wanted to share this because I think there are some people that are like, why am I getting kind of all this backlash? I just said that, you know, I don't condone, but, you know, the guy was a jerk. The guy was a homophobe. When you say that stuff, you are condoning it. I know people don't want to hear that, but that really is exactly how it comes across. You don't have to mourn him. You don't have to think that he was a wonderful person. But I do feel like, and I know I keep bringing up Blair, but she had brought something else up about this idea that there are certain things that are just supposed to, I think, kind of all bring us together. And so I made a reel about that too. And I was just like, yeah, what does bring us together? What are our unifiers? I don't know that we have them anymore.
Not anymore.
You know, I think about the Michael Jackson, We Are the World, where we all come together, and then they redid it for Haiti and Hurricane Katrina. We have all these catastrophes when people are, I almost feel like, well, isn't that supposed to bring us together? Because we all hate, right? And I don't know. This is kind of, Tori, where I'm at. This is what I'm struggling with. Do we have any unifiers anymore? Is there ever something that can happen that will just unite all of us?
That's a great point that you brought up, Gilbert, because like I kind of see us, you and I, as unifiers because we are essentially in both camps. Yes. I feel like you've been called and I've been called with all the work that you do and what I'm trying to do. We're kind of called to try to be unifiers because we have our foot in both camps, quite literally. We being in the middle, having values, having more Christian values on one side and then being a part of the LGBT. Yeah, being affirming and wanting our community to flourish and to be protected and safe. Yeah. So that's a good point. That's a good point. Besides what we're doing, what is a unifier in today's world? Because God forbid you speak something on how you feel and people immediately poo-poo it if they don't like it. And like, imagine going to a funeral and mourning someone that you love and someone coming by and like kicking the casket, essentially. Yeah. Like that's essentially what it is. It's like, you don't know this person. You don't have to mourn with me, but like, how dare you come in and do that? I mean, that's just basic human decency, is it not? Yes, it is. Yes. Yes. I remember the Westboro Baptist Church used to picket funerals. Remember they would stand outside funerals and picket, when somebody
dead soldiers or gay people, somebody would die, they would go out and do that. That's kind of essentially what's happening now. Yeah.
Yeah. And I hate, you brought up another good point. I hate that people use things such as like the Westboro Baptist Church and the KKK to call them Christian. Oh, they were a Christian organization. This is what Charlie stood for. No.
Yeah.
No, you know nothing of Christianity and or what Charlie stood for if you think the two are transferable at all.
Yes.
That's just, ugh.
My hope is that it also works in the other way, that these people, I mean, I shared a reel recently where these people are all, I mean, I'm just going to call it what it is. It's demonic. I mean, just the way that they are mocking Charlie and talking about the gruesomeness of how he died and laughing and celebrating and saying that, saying, I would have done it. If he didn't do it, I would have done it. I would have taken his life. I want to say too, that does not represent all Democrats, all people on the left, right? We have to say that we have to come to this understanding that there are radicals and there are extremes on both sides, and we have to be very careful to not just demonize an entire group of people. What I will say is that, we do have to also acknowledge that sometimes there are patterns culturally, and so is it okay to talk about those patterns? It may not be flattering for a certain side or a certain community or whatever. But I think that that's kind of what we were saying. If we have our foot planted in both sides of these communities, in multiple communities, right? I think that, you being trans, me being gay, I think that us being Christians, I think that there's power in the voice of us to sometimes say, hey, within this community that I belong to, there's a problem here. Culturally, there's a problem here. We're not getting it right in this one area. You know what I mean? We're out of balance in some area within this community. I think that can be powerful too.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. And thank you for agreeing with the foot in both camps analogy, because that's really how I feel. And I never really thought of myself as a unifier, but I guess that's kind of what we are doing.
I hope so. Yeah.
We're building bridges. And that's what I like to do is I try to build bridges with people that disagree with me. I really try to. A lot of the times they want to burn the bridge that I'm trying to build.
Yeah.
But that doesn't help us be unifiers at all. That doesn't help bring anyone together. That just creates a larger divide between people. And I personally, I am not going to stop standing up for what I believe in and speaking the truth that I believe to be truth of right and wrong, because people are going to try to demonize me for it. I will stand up for people that I believe are telling the truth and speaking truth. And I'm not gonna back down from that. I'm not gonna be bullied away from that, even though they will try to. Mm-hmm. But I just refuse to do that. And I have lost a lot of people in this last 72 hours. And that's heavy. That hurts. Mm-hmm. But were they worthy to be friends in the first place? That's a question that I've been asking myself.
I thought about that too. I've like I said, I lost a lot as well. And well, first I'm sorry for the loss, because like you said, even though it could be a positive thing, that's where I'm going with it too. You were human. We feel some type of way, like, wait, what? You're all leaving? But then, like you said, I think that there is a sense of, having certain, if you want to call it, energy around you. And if there's a certain energy, even if these are people that are following you, if they are okay with murder, if they are okay with someone being killed in cold blood, sorry, let me re-edit that. Because if they are okay with pew pew, if they are okay with somebody's life being taken away in cold blood,
are they worth it?
Yeah. Is that
someone you
is that
want?
someone you want on your followers list, on your subscribers list, watching what you're posting? Because some of us post some pretty vulnerable stuff, some pretty intimate stuff. Some of us, we share things about our lives and our days and our thoughts. And to think that there are people that are watching us that are like, yeah, do that, show more of the blood or show more of the
condoning pew poo.
Condoning pew.
I don't condone the murder, but he was an awful person.
Yeah.
There's that but again.
There's the but.
That's very, like you said, that's very telling. I'm so glad you brought that up. I had a professor once that talked about the power of the but, and we're like, ha ha ha, it's so funny.
Yeah.
But it really sets the stage.
Yes, it
and
does.
you can tell a lot about someone and how they react with where they place the but in a statement.
Yes.
Such as that.
Yes, because wherever the but is, what comes after is the more important part of that person's genuine feeling. Because like you said, it takes away from whatever they said before it. And I think that's what was hard for me, because some people were saying to me, really good friends that I've had too, that are still here, and they're probably going to watch this video. Gilbert, I'm never going to like Charlie Kirk. And it just makes my brain hurt, because I'm thinking, I'm not trying to sell you to him. I don't really care that you don't like him. That's not my angle here. I'm not trying to convince you that you should like him and you should love him and you should think positively. I'm not trying to do that. This is about that you even brought up how you feel about him once you learned that he was murdered. The fact that you combined that, yeah.
Sorry.
No,
isn't that interesting that that's kind of how it gets spun right away, is why are you trying to sell me on this?
Yeah, it's does.
Like, we're not. We shouldn't even be thinking about that.
Yes, those are two different conversations.
Pew-pewed. Yeah.
It should be two conversations.
We're talking about someone being pew-pewed in cold blood for his beliefs in America in the year 2025. That's what we're talking about. That is the center of this of this conversation. It's not I need you to hear what Charlie Kirk has to say. I really think he could help your heart. No.
No.
That's not the primary thing. Maybe if that gets into a different conversation, sure. But that's not the center of this whole thing. It is like you said, the outrage of the lack of empathy for someone losing their life for speaking, exercising their right of free speech.
Yes.
In a public university.
Yes. I tried multiple ways of appealing to someone's humanity. Some of it backfired, which is why sometimes I don't think it's good advice to tell me to put myself in somebody else's shoes, because sometimes it makes me even more angry with them, because I'm like, I would never behave that way. But like there was this one time where I had said, well, think about it this way, like a high school bully. If you were in school and there was a bully that bullied you, right? Because many people look at Charlie as like some kind of a bully. So I'm like, okay, let's go with that. If you had known someone in school that was a bully, that pushed you in the locker, the whole cliche, right? And then one day you saw that bully, he wasn't at school anymore, and you had heard that he was kidnapped, or you had heard that there was a gang fight near his neighborhood, and a gun went off, and a pew pew went off, and it went into the window, and it struck him in the head, and he passed away. Wouldn't you be like affected by that? Like the next day at school, wouldn't you, if you saw the desk that he used to sit in and it was empty, and you heard the teacher said, we have some really horrible news, and wouldn't that move you? Like, wouldn't you say, well, the guy was a jerk, he pushed me around, but he didn't deserve to die. Like, I knew him. Like, that's horrible. Or he went missing, he got kidnapped. Wouldn't you want to pray that he'd be found home? That's somebody's son. Some people, I thought that was going to be like what really made it click, but some people just were like, no, if he was a bully, he deserved it. And I was like, hey, this isn't going the way that I hoped that it would. And some people even tried to turn it on me. They were like, well, Gilbert, maybe you do agree with all of his viewpoints. And I'm like, I don't.
Oh,
they're like,
yeah.
Then they're like, why are you worshiping him? You're a bootlicker. You're this and that. He hated you because you were gay and brown. And I'm like, what is this? What? It scared me. Tori, it scared me. I'm like, how is this where your mind goes? This
Right
justification. Away. Yeah, right away. And then they try to make it personal. And some people I've shared that there are some people, I will not say their names, that make my blood boil. Like everything that comes out of their mouth make my blood boil. Political commentators or, whatever. And I honestly feel like if one day, there's two of them, if one day one of them were sexually assaulted or kidnapped, went missing or died or something, my first initial thought, Tori, and I am hand on the Bible, but would be devastation. Oh my gosh. I hope that they are found. Like I could get emotional right now thinking about it. I hope that they're found. Right. That's horrible. I hope that their is apprehended and just like that's the only place my mind would go. My mind would not go to a montage of everything they've ever said on their show or on the radio. Like my brain won't go there. How could I, being bombarded with the reality of what has just happened to a human being? And I think that's where, and I'm not trying to be some holy, naive person. Okay, I'm a deeply flawed human. I am not perfect. I have my own issues. I have to go to God every day. But I'm being honest when I say that the fact that people can go there right away, Tori, it makes me feel unsafe. I've mentioned Blair White like 4 times already, but I love you, Blair. I know she knows that.
Just tag her in that thing.
I'm going to just tag her in this, yeah. But she had tweeted something that says something along the lines, I don't want to misquote her, but it was something along the lines of, if you are okay with sexual assault, I'm going to assume that you're okay with doing it. If you're okay with somebody being murdered, I'm going to assume that you are capable of murder.
I saw that one too. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes. And I'm like, exactly. Like those are my exact thoughts. That's why I don't feel safe around some of these people that have these views, and even in the ones that are like, well, I don't think that he should have been murdered. But if you're using your butt in that way, I don't feel safe around you, because that shouldn't even be part of the conversation.
But doesn't that speak a lot to both your heart specifically and then the individual's heart that you are conversing with? Like that your initial response is not human empathy. Your initial response is, well, let's see what they did on this earth and let's see if they're worthy of my empathy. Like, that is so against what we are called to do as Christians, what we're called to do as humans for one another. Like, we didn't deserve salvation for Jesus dying on the cross. We didn't deserve that. That was a gift that he gave to us. So if we're trying to be Christ-like, we want to be like, as humans, we want to be like that. We don't want to respond with, well, hold on, let me see if he's worthy of my sympathy. I love what you said about these people that you don't necessarily like, and something, God forbid, horrible happens to them. Your initial reaction is your true heart reaction. And that's a beautiful thing. I mean, that's one of the many things I love about you, is that really shows your heart right off the bat. You don't have to qualify it with anything. It's just a human being lost their life.
Yeah.
Tragedy.
I think that there's going to be a lot of people that are Christian that are watching this that are like, amen, that are going to be maybe a little bit convicted. I think there's going to be a lot of people that are not Christian that are watching this that may be like, well, I don't really understand how to really relate to this because I'm not a Christian and I don't understand it that way. And so, and I don't know if you know this about me, Tori, but I was agnostic, borderline atheist for most of my life. So I can kind of understand a little bit of what they're saying. And like, I don't really know the Bible. I don't really know God that way. I have certain views even about Christianity from the representatives I've seen on earth. So I think what I would say in this way is, you know, okay, well, let's talk about it outside of a Christian context. Isn't it kind of playing God to think about it that way, that, well, this person died and then immediately I'm going to judge them and make judgments about them to decide whether or not they were deserving of living. And I'm going to make a judgment about Charlie Kirk that he did not deserve to survive that, because even though it was not ideal, or I'm not okay with murder, but what he said had it coming. What he said made it so that he deserved to die by it.
What he said, he supported his own execution. I heard
people said that.
say.
Yeah, he
And
supported
I'm like,
guns. So he said something about gun violence is necessary, or I don't remember the exact quote.
A few deaths are necessary.
Right.
In a there's not going to be a perfect utopian society if there are guns involved. That's gonna, he's not wrong, but like it doesn't justify his death in that way. It doesn't justify any death really, but it's gonna happen. Humans are flawed.
I just here can I even be a little bit more controversial?
Absolutely. Hello, I'm on your channel.
I'm gonna go really controversial. Even if he said, I should be pew-pewed, I want someone to pew-pew me, right? I deserve to be pew-pewed, and let's just say he said it that way. He welcomed it blatantly. I dare someone to pew-pew me, right? If he said that, I would feel the exact same way, Tori, once somebody did it. Once somebody decided to take it into their own hands and do it, it's still outrageous to me. I wouldn't care that Charlie said those things, because you're still a person who decided to take it into your own hands. Well, he asked me to. Really? So someone asks you to go be a monster and you're going to be like, oh, finally, I get to do what he asked me to. That to me is just as dark as if he never asked for it.
I totally agree. I can't wrap my head around just innate. I have people in my DMs that, like I said, that were friends, that are mothers, that are from a supposedly church, that were friends with me for a long time in high school, other coworkers that I've worked with in the past that are saying, you're literally trans. He hated you. Why do you care? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, you're a mother? You go to my church? You, like, are you serious right now? That is, like you said, is scary. For my safety, like, that's horrendous to me. That is abhorrent to me. That these people, these everyday people, are saying these things with such gravitas. Like, no, not at all. He was murdered. End of. He was pew-pewed. He was pew-pewed. End of. Yeah. Not okay. Don't care who you are. Don't care what he said, how he said it, what he would have thought of me. Mm-hmm. I do not care. Mm-hmm. He was still pew-pewed for his beliefs and for speaking up. That's the end of it.
Yeah. I want to ask people in the comments this question, because I know we're going to get a lot of, right? I mean, we know that there's going to be a lot of people that will be like, listen, y'all, I know they will. They're going to be like, and I know it. I know that in the comments, people are going to disagree with us, and they're going to say about what a terrible person he was. I understand that.
And how terrible we are.
And how terrible we are for being upset that he was pew-pewed and his life was taken in cold blood. But my question to those that want to have part of a productive conversation in this, we're talking about unifiers a lot, and we're talking about moving forward. I'd like to think that even if you are someone who is not a big fan of Charlie Kirk, who has pretty negative feelings about him, what do you think is the solution? What do you think is a way to have us unified? Do you still stand by using the power of your butt, or do you say, you know what, I actually see what, you and Tori are talking about, I'll reconsider that. Maybe we can approach it this way. Or like, I really do want to do some kind of bridge building here. And I love that about you, Tori, because I'm the same way. I want to do some bridge building because I want to have us have this video and leave it on this note of something hopeful so that people can be allowed their own opinions, whether we agree all together or we don't all agree together, but where violence is not the issue. So I do want to hear from people on all sides, as long as it's constructive, as long as it's respectful. Where do we go from here? How do we acknowledge differences of opinions and stay truthful in how much we disagree, how passionately we are, while still staying outside of bringing this to violence?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I love that you asked that for the comment section down below.
Yeah.
I'm not used to that, so I love it. That's a great ruminating question, because I mean it's an open-ended question. It's a great question. Where do we go? I mean, people are talking about how divided we are right now, more than we've ever been. Yet at the same time, it seems that his martyrdom is starting a revival, which I think is a beautiful thing that God created out of a tragedy. But obviously we're still going to have people show their true intentions, even from what's blossoming out of the ashes there. People said beauty from the ashes, and I really appreciate that and resonated with that.
Oh man, that's one of my favorite messages. So I don't know if you know this about me, but I am.
No, I didn't.
I'm also a minister and I'm also a preacher. And I had a whole series that I did in my Bible study called Beauty for Ashes. And it's one of my favorite messages. Sometimes when I'm invited to speak at churches, that's like my go-to is Beauty for Ashes. So you really struck me in the feels with that one. Beauty for Ashes is one of my favorite concepts of the Bible and how God deals with this. And God does say, you bring your junk to me, you bring all your ashes, the remnants, the debris of your heartbreak, of your loss. You come to me and I will make an exchange. Like when you take something back at Walmart or Target, you bring your junk to me and God says, and I will exchange it and I will give you beauty for those ashes. And it's just so beautiful.
Absolutely. I'm glad I was able to resonate there. This was not planned, everybody.
This was not planned. No.
That was all organic.
It was. Actually, even last night, we actually said, let's not talk too much about it. We want to save it for this conversation. So we didn't talk much at all about it. Last night was mostly about us troubleshooting. And then we had more troubleshooting issues right before we started to record this.
Seriously.
Yeah. Our equipment just was not working.
But I'm glad we got here, because this has been perfect. I don't know how many times I've looked at myself versus looking at you. I'm trying to look at you. Little vanity there. Whoops.
Well, first of all, Tori, thank you for spending this time to talk with me about this. So to all of us about this, I really appreciate all of your feedback and your heart and your compassion and your wisdom and your insight. Thank you so much for sharing it with all of us.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. And I love having the opportunity and hearing your heart as well. I mean, we have very similar hearts, I feel, and I love that, because we need to have more of that. I really do think this is a call to have more of that. We need to return to humanity, because we're losing it fast.
I'm going to leave all ways to follow Tori in the comments, in the description, or whatever it's called, like down below, wherever it's in the box. So please follow her on all her social media. If you are new to this channel, please smash the subscribe button, smash the like button, and like we said, drop us a comment. Let us know what you thought about this conversation. Let us know what you think would be the best way to move forward. Until the next video, I love you. God bless you. Thank you for spending time with us. And thanks again, Tori.
Thank you.
Bye.